And God says, this is not good, this is not right. And you say, who is he to tell me that? That is what sin is all about. And these people are rebelling. That means they're living exactly like God told them not to live like. And their life has become very bad. They have become a backslidden people that have forgotten God. And God is now speaking to them through the prophet, and he says, they have rebelled against me. I brought them out. I nourished them. I brought them up like children. He's referring to how he brought them out of Egypt and delivered them from the slavery, brought them to the promised land, gave them everything. Now they are rebelling against me, he says. And now look at verse 5 and 6, because they are prophetic verses. God is here describing the stench, the kind of life that they live, describing the people of Israel as if they are a body, a human body, and how rotten it's become. That's how he describes them in their sin. He says, why should you be stricken again? Verse 5. You will revolt more and more. The whole head is sick, and the whole heart faints. Now that's only the beginning. Look at the next verse. From the sole of the foot even to the head, there is no soundness in it. Sick from top of the head to the bottom of the feet, he says. But wounds and bruises and putrefying sores, they have not been closed or bound up or soothed with ointment. If you know Tamil, I think you better read it in Tamil. It comes out very powerfully, very plainly. In English, it's very dignified here. They are sick from head to toe. Wounds and bruises, putrefying sores. In other words, there is pus there. That's exactly how Tamil says. There is pus there, and it has not been pressed, and the pus has not come out. That means it's stinking. And bruises and putrefying sores, open sores, and they have not been closed or bound up or soothed with ointment. No medicine applied, no oil applied, nothing. It's all open, looking horrible, stinking, terrible. That's the description of the people of Israel who have rebelled and sinned against God. Their life now looks like this. The description is very physical, like a physical body he describes. But look at Isaiah 52. I already told you, Isaiah 53 actually starts with Isaiah 53 verse 13. Because the suffering servant is described from verse 13 of chapter 52 itself. Look at verse 14 of Isaiah 52. You will find a very close relationship between the description here and the description of Isaiah 1, verse 5 and 6. Look at verse 14. Just as many were astonished at you, so his visage was marred more than any man. It's talking about visage. Visage is the appearance, outward appearance. It was marred more than any man, and his form more than the sons of men. Now the translation is not very clear, so I'll read several translations. In English, there's one convenience. There is many translations are available. Let me read to you some of the translations. First, I'll read ESV. Just look at this. ESV, that is English Standard Version, it says, as many were astonished at you, his appearance was so marred beyond human semblance, and his form beyond that of the children of mankind. Isaiah prophetically describes the cross and Jesus hanging on the cross. 800 years before it actually happened, the prophet sees Jesus on the cross and describes what he sees. He says his appearance was so marred beyond human semblance. That means you can't even tell by looking that it's a human being. You don't know whether it's just some kind of an animal hanging there or a human being. You can't tell that it's actually a human being. That's what he actually says there. His form beyond that of the children of mankind. It doesn't look like he's one of the men belonging to the human race. That's what it describes him as. Look at another translation, the New Living Translation of verse 14. But many were amazed when they saw him. His face was so disfigured. He seemed hardly human. From his appearance, one would scarcely know he was a man. You can hardly tell that he was a man, that he is a human being. Just like a piece of meat was hanging there. He hung on the cross. You couldn't even tell that it was a human being that was hanging there. That's the description. Look at the Message translation, which is usually very modern English. It says, he didn't even look, at first everyone was appalled. He didn't even look human. A ruined face, disfigured beyond recognition. What more do you want? NIV, New International Version. His appearance was so disfigured beyond that of any human being, and his form marred beyond human likeness. Amazing. Simply saying that Jesus hanging on the cross, wounded from the top of his head to the bottom of his feet, his appearance was so marred, probably his flesh hanging because they beat him with whip that had hooks, metal hooks to it. It tore the flesh off of his body. They put a crown of thorns on his head, so blood was flowing from the head. Beat him. They beat the thorn on his head. Wounded everywhere. The whole body covered in blood. Beaten all over until the body became like a plowed field, the Bible says. Hands and feet nailed, hanging there. What a different picture than the picture that we see of many statues of Jesus hanging on the cross. Usually it's a very stylish Jesus hanging like this, with one drop of blood on each hand, the palm of his hand, and one drop at his feet, and one right here at the side, just few drops here and there, and just a little bit of sweat. That's a wrong picture. When you look at that picture, that statue looks like you can go there and kind of worship him or something like that. If you really looked at Jesus, you wouldn't even want to lift up your eyes and look at him. That's how he was looking, the Bible says. You wouldn't want to go anywhere near and touch and worship and look at that again. That's the way Jesus was looking, according to the description of Isaiah. All that because of our rebellion. That's what Isaiah is saying. Chapter 1 verse 2 says, the rebellion of the people was such, they looked horrible. They were described like a human body, totally ruined, completely sick from head to toe, with putrefying sores all over the body. Not wound up, not anointed with oil. That's the way it's described. And that's the exact description of Jesus. What God did on the cross was, see, this is Isaiah 1 is the description of the results of their rebellion. Because of their rebellion, they were like this. Because they rebelled against God, they've become a people like this. They've become a sick people. The evil consequences is showing in their life, is showing in the way they lived. They were stinking literally. Because of their rebellion and walking against the will of God, disobeying the commandments of God. Because they lived like that, they were like a sick body that you cannot even behold. A body that's a stinking body that you wouldn't want to be anywhere near. You wouldn't want to even look. Sick from top of the head to the bottom of the feet. That's the way they are described. And God took that description and applied it to Jesus on the cross of Calvary. Jesus was made like that. Why? Because of our rebellion, our iniquity. So that's the meaning of the Lord laid on him the iniquity of us all. Remember, our life because of sin became so ugly so stinking, so bad, unbearably bad. Head to toe, we were sick with sin and its evil consequences. And Jesus that hung on the cross became like us because he bore our sin and all our evil consequences there on the cross so that we can look good today. So that our life can be good today. So that we can be healthy today from top of the head to the bottom of the feet. So that we can be blessed today in our spirit, in our soul, in our body. So that we can have well-being today. So that we can be blessed today. Just imagine how God looks at us today. Because Jesus became like us, we have become like Jesus. He took what was on us so that we can have what was on him. We have got his wonderful nature through the new birth. And we've got a new life that is beautiful. So everybody say with me, on the cross, all our iniquities, the punishment for that iniquity, and the evil consequences were laid upon Jesus. He bore it all. I was sick from head to toe. But Jesus bore it. He bore all the evil consequences that was destroying me, that was eating me up. It was all laid on him so that I can be healed from the top of my head to the bottom of my feet. What has happened through the cross of Calvary is the total healing. From the top of your head to the bottom of your feet, my friend. Surely he has borne our griefs and carried our sorrows. But we thought he was stricken and smitten by God. We esteemed him not. But he was wounded for our transgression. He was bruised for our iniquities. The chastisement of our peace was laid upon him. And by his stripes we are healed. What a wonderful good news.